The Houston Astros look to be on the decline as a franchise after missing their first American League Championship Series since 2016. With some aging players and contracts due, the dynasty that we once knew might just be collapsing in front of our eyes. However, that's why we're here today, to try to squeeze another year of life from this core and get the Astros back to chasing rings. This makes the 21st rebuild of the Rebuilding October series, which is where I rebuild a new team every day across the month of October. So whether you're looking for your favorite team or just generally curious as to how every team will approach the offseason, this is the series for you. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. Part of the struggles for this Astros squad was their pitching, and one of the biggest surprises of the 2024 season was Justin Verlander's regression. Verlander has been a rock for the Astros in years prior, but this season was more of a hindrance, posting a 5.48 ERA across 17 starts, while not getting the strikeouts you would expect and giving up significantly more hits. While the Astros pitching did make a strong push towards the end of the year, it wasn't due to Verlander, and that becomes more evident when he was left off of the wild card roster, sealing his fate to become a free agent this offseason. The next player that will be heading into the free agent market will sting for Astros fans, as is Alex Bregman. In this scenario, it's not due to personal performance. Bregman continues to put up great numbers offensively, and defensively, he continues to do his thing. The problem for the Stros is that they already have the eighth most committed money to next season, and that's without Bregman being on the books. Another thing to consider is that the team will need to reserve some money for Kyle Tucker, whose contract is due after the 2025 season. Bregman will assuredly not seek a 1 year deal, and it's a matter of choosing between Bregman and Tucker, and that answer should clearly be in favor of Tucker. The next solid player to hit free agency will be Yusei Kikuchi, who reinvented himself with the Astros and looked pretty good in doing so. Over his brief stint with the Astros, he posted a 2.7 ERA across his 10 starts while striking out 11.4 batters per 9 innings and limiting walks to 2.1. The stint was enough for Kikuchi to go into free agency, desiring a better deal. He will also lose a pair of relievers in Caleb Ferguson and Kendall Graveman. Ferguson and Graveman have both had good stints with the Astros. Ferguson more recently over the back end of 2024 and Graveman in 2023, but they are both fairly replaceable in a bullpen that already has a lot of money sunk into it. And then the team will lose out on a pair of veteran outfielders in Jason Hayward and Ben Gamel. In this video, we will work to upgrade on those players, so there isn't much reason to keep them around. They both serve their purpose, and both of which will get a job elsewhere. And the final impending free agent is Hector Neris. Neris will return to the squad after a pretty disappointing second stint in Houston in the back half of the year. If it weren't for the home runs, Neris was actually much improved in 2024. His strikeout to walk rate with the Astros was incredible. His whip was right back to that elite form, and he just struggled with homers. It was so much of an outlier for his career that the Astros should have no problem bringing Neris back as a cheaper option. Staying on the internal side of things, the Astros have four prospects that could have their respective impact on the Major League squad, starting with Jacob Melton, who's a really intriguing prospect that could have the chance to be a five-tool guy. With plus speed and a good arm, it gives him good range that should allow him to stick in center, and with his frame and swing, it does produce high exit velocities, which is a sign that the player can be molded into a really good hitter down the line. Due to his struggles in AAA, the team should expect him to stay at that level to start the season, and based off the performance of him and the players at the major league level, it will determine when he cracks the majors. Second highest rated player on the list and third highest rated player in the Astros system is Bryce Matthews. Matthews made waves as a prospect for the Astros, making his way all the way from rookie ball to AAA. Matthews is a really intriguing prospect because once again, his power plays, but with plus speed, it makes him versatile. The Astros are trying to help him at shortstop because his arm is a bit too weak at the position, and for that, people suspect he will be a long term second baseman or center fielder. The next name to keep an eye on already had a short tenure in the majors, and that is Zach DeZenzo. DeZenzo does have plus pop for his status as a prospect, but defensively, he is a bit of a mess. His best hope in the infield is at third base, but even there, he isn't great. His pop will play in the majors, but the rest of his game is a cause for concern. And the final prospect checks in as the ninth best prospect in the Astros system in AJ Bluebaugh. Bluebaugh has done a lot of work as a prospect to stretch from a reliever to starter, and the reshape of his pitches has yielded pretty good results so far in the minor leagues. Last year, he had a 3.83 ERA and 27 appearances in AAA, and if he can add just a few ticks to his fastball, it would transform his game tremendously. For free agents, the team will attempt to band-aid the third base spot with Miguel Rojas for the Dodgers. Defensively, Rojas is very sound and can even make the move over to shortstop later in games considering Pena's defensive struggles. And if Houston can get the most out of his bat, which we have seen be plus at times throughout his career, it'll be a serviceable replacement of Bregman. Obviously, not the name or consistency of the previous heir, but at his best, he can be a really good replacement. The next addition will be of Max Kepler, who will finally lead the Minnesota Twins this offseason after 10 years. Kepler wasn't overwhelmingly great in 2024, posting a 682 OPS, but this is just 1 year removed from an 816 OPS in 2023, where he hit 24 homers and 66 RBIs. Another player who, at his peak, can be really good and require the Astros to get the most out of him. Another key point of contention for the team will be the rotation, where the team will likely need to sign multiple starters in the wake of Jose Urquidy and Christian Javier likely missing the year due to Tommy John surgery in June of 2024. And Lance McCullers not pitching over the last 2 seasons doesn't help either. The first signing will be of Andrew Heaney. Heaney continues to tread water as a league average pitcher, posting a 4.28 ERA and a 4.04 FIP while striking out 8.9 batters per 9 innings and walking 2.3. It is a great length adder for this rotation. And the final addition to the team is Spencer Turnbull from the Phillies, who enjoyed a nice turnaround season in Philadelphia. Turnbull posted a 2.65 ERA across 17 appearances with 7 starts mixed in there. He did so by posting the best strikeout rate of his career while keeping the hits in check. Turnbull gives the Stros exactly what they need in an additional reliever that can turn in a spot start here or there and give the extra rest to McCullers, who would struggle with workload for a full season. And that's going to do it for the additions of the team, bringing the final roster to Yandy Diaz at the catcher spot, with John Singleton platooning at first, Jose Altuve at second, Jeremy Pena at short, with Miguel Rojas at the third base spot. Kyle Tucker would get moved to left field, with Chas McCormick in center, who you need to see have a bounce back year, with Max Kepler in right and Jordan Alvarez at DH. The platoon at first base will have to be Victor Caratini in the role versus lefties, with Mauricio Dubon as a utility option, Jake Myers as a fourth outfielder, and Cesar Salazar as a backup catcher. Framber Valdez would headline the rotation with Hunter Brown as a secondary option after a big second half of 2024. Luis Garcia would return from his Tommy John surgery, with Andrew Heaney and Lance McCullers to fill out the back end, with Spencer Turnbull to give some spot starts when necessary. Would this team have the potential to make a run in the postseason? I think so. There's a lot of stars still on this team, and with a good bullpen, there are elements still of a good squad. And it's all a matter of finding the right role players to allow these stars to play. And with the right moves, the Astros run might not be done after all.